on Sunday afternoon, we got the message that all gyms, all public spaces had to close down. And it really was a matter of hours having to shut down our doors and then try to pivot from there. And, you know, obviously keep the energy still going at the gym, keep the community still going at the gym. I've committed to 150 clients at the gym to help them through their health and wellness. And it would just be hard to just let everybody down and turn, you know, my back on them. So it was just really a matter of taking a few hours and trying to find a solution to keep everyone still going and excited and still, you know, keeping their health and fitness in mind and making sure that they're not forgetting about that at this time where you need it the most.
So we've talked a lot about, you know, the lack of connection and the lack of people being able to go out and do things. And you know, usually Friday nights, I take my girl out for date night. We go to dinner and we're like, oh, you can't do that. And there's just something nice about getting out and, you know, seeing and being seen and all that kind of thing. So how are you helping people stay in shape now, you know, virtually?
Right. So I had been working on a platform for almost a year now where I was doing online coaching one-on-one and in group sessions. And right away, I just transitioned my clients onto this platform. And I'm offering 3 hours a day where we're doing, you know, actually using Zoom to host trainings for those that want to come on, that want to connect, that still want to work out with a group, that want some feedback on their coaching. And of course, the platform allows flexibility for others who want to do it on their own. But, you know, we're not asked to not go outside and reconnect with nature. And I think that's really important to keep in mind because, you know, go outside. I was outside this morning. I went for a run in the woods and the sun was unbelievable coming through the trees and the smell of the fresh air. I mean, we've been inside so much and it's so dry inside and, you know, it gets very dreary and depressing to be inside for so long. But just to go outside and to reconnect with nature is probably what we need the most right now. We're so now afraid of being outside and interacting with people, but we're not asked to not connect with nature and to not connect with our environment. So just a reminder that, you know, even being at home, we are reducing the amount of activity. So if you were used to a certain number of steps per day or a certain number of activity level per day, just keep in mind that, you know, right now staying at home, quarantining, you're more accessible to the kitchen is there, food is there, and you're moving less. So, you know, you have two options. Either you reduce your intake now or you come back to that regular activity that you did. Maybe, you know, putting your laundry away one article at a time, running up and down the stairs, finding ways to move around the house and to be active because we're all reducing the amount of motion and exercise that we're normally doing. And of course, that's wreaking havoc, not just on our body, but on our emotions, on our energy levels as well.
So let's break this down a little bit. I want to start with how well prepared were you mentally and emotionally and physically? Because obviously you operate a gym, you work out every day, you lead people every day. And then this comes along. Talk us a little bit about how the fact that you're healthy and fit helped you get through the emotional part that you probably and financial part you might not have been prepared for.
Right. So, I mean, in addition to the fitness, that obviously that is a very big part of my life. Another big part of my life is personal development. And I am an M1. I've been an M1 for over a year. And, you know, learning a lot of the tools that I had over the year are now coming into play. So that's really important to note. But, you know, when you're used to training and you're used to pushing, you know, through difficult moments and you're used to actually pushing your mind through difficult moments, this is really now where all that preparation comes into play. And yes, I had already, you know, a platform ready online to be able to transition my clients there. But truly, it's that feeling of resilience. It's, you know, being a leader, knowing that I have to show up now for not only for myself, but I have to show up for a community and guide them through this difficult time. All of that really came into play at one time. But truly, just having that connection of going through difficulty, resilience, starting to overcome certain things, and especially the unknown now. There's a lot of uncertainty, and when you're training, there is a lot of uncertainty. You don't show up every single day the same way, energy level wise or mood wise to your workout. There's always a factor of something unknown. And with CrossFit, with high intensity training, there's always an element of the unknown that you are combating at every single workout.
So a little while ago, when you closed the gym, you were like faced with, okay, drop off on revenue.
Yeah.
Some clients talked about maybe leaving, et cetera. You were in a place where you looked out of the horizon, you looked at possibly closing your gym, maybe bankruptcy, et cetera. True?
Yeah, 100%. And that's just the way my brain operates. I have to go to the worst case scenario and become very comfortable with the worst case scenario. And from there, now I can try to find some solutions. So, right now we have a lot of uncertainty, and get comfortable with these uncertainties, and get comfortable with what your worst case scenario is, whatever that means, and whether it's loss of job or, not knowing how long this is going to go on for. And from there, start to find solutions, start to focus on what you can control. It's not serving you right now to focus on what's out of your control, and what's out of our control is the job, is the economy, how long this is going to last, what it's going to mean for us. But, I'm getting messages all the time. Well, have you decided what you're going to do in 2 weeks? No, I haven't. And it's not that I'm not prepared. It's just that I'm going to take this 1 hour at a time. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks, just as much as you don't know what's going to happen in 2 weeks. But being comfortable and completely surrendering to whatever is coming, and just unwavering faith that everything is going to work out, is really how I'm able to get through it 1 hour at a time.
Great advice. So I want to point out a couple of things. I think it's Dale Carnegie's book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. He talked about airtight compartments, and he talks about just what you're doing there is think about the worst case scenario, get okay with it emotionally, and then dig yourself out of that and make it better. And your mindset actually will be very empowered versus hoping and wishing it's not going to get worse. So reverse engineer it. So that's great advice. The second thing I want to point out is something that's been a theme in our conversations today is you don't need to have control of the outside environment. You need to have faith and belief that you'll find a way.
Exactly.
That you'll make a way. And when you start to put your energy and intention on that, then you start to also feel like you're empowered to actually go through this. And if you do those things, you'll be ahead of 99% of the population. You'll be a leader, you'll be a force for good, and you will win. So I love the fact that you're embracing that. I'd like to get now to the part where, physically people are at home. Myself, it's not the same. I've been going to yoga, to a studio where I'm led, and I like the contact, I like the heat, etc. Gonna do it at home now. I don't have the same kind of draw to it. So what can people do at home now, other than running up and downstairs with their underwear and putting it in the drawer one at a time, which I like the idea, but what can they do? Can you give them some specific things they can do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so many at-home workouts that you can do that are high intensity, that require absolutely no equipment, just your body weight with a lot of small space. And now it's time to reframe. Everybody's like, well, I joined the gym because of the equipment, and I joined the gym because of the people, and I joined the yoga studio because of this, and in the heat and the environment. And again, it's coming back to stop focusing on what you can't control now, and let's focus on what you can. And what you can control, that's non-negotiable, that you still have complete power over, is your health and your fitness. It's your personal development. It's you. So whatever that's going to look like now will be a little bit different than what we had last week. But you have two options. You either stop and still wish for the gym, or still wish for the yoga studio and wish for all of these things that we had access to last week, or you can still make it happen no matter what. This thing might go on for 3 more months. We don't even know. Does that mean you're going to stop working out for 3 months and you're just going to leave all those rituals? Remember that it's those rituals that make you you, and it's those rituals that got you through the stress of work and the stress of family and all of those things previously. So the more you are able to just reframe your rituals, try to make it happen. Remember that I'm a person who trains. I'm not a person who trains at the gym, but I'm a person who trains. So that means I'm going to find a way to do it. And I'm a person who takes care of my health. It's not now that I'm quarantined that I'm going to start eating junk when that's not what I used to eat before. I'm really going to focus on all of those parts of my identity that's going to start being and feeling more familiar to me and get through it. And then maybe during that time as well, in addition to my at-home workouts, I'm going to try to think of some other things that I can do at home. I actually like to sketch and I like to draw, and it's something that I haven't been able to do in so many years. So I'm planning on hitting that again. There's so many books I wanted to read, and I'm planning on doing that again. And I know some of us have our kids at home. I have my kids at home, and it's, the first couple of days I let them do whatever they wanted. If they wanted to watch TV and video games, I let them do what they wanted. But now we're on a schedule, and they're spending a couple of hours on the computer going over lectures and math and stuff like that. They've got their chores to do. They have to read a little bit. They have their little exercise workouts to do. They're both gymnasts. They're used to 20 hours almost of training per week. So I have to make sure that they're still also on a schedule connected to their rituals. So the more that you can make this situation familiar to you, and the more that it feels like you're still making things happen, you're still connected with who you are, the easier it will be, obviously, to get through it long term.
Beautiful. Amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the transformation over the last 2 or 3 decades of what we put in our body. People used to smoke years ago, 50, 60 years ago. Everybody smoked. It was just a thing. And then they found out that it wasn't good for us. And then, we were all supposed to drink milk. And now everywhere you go, it's, I'll have my latte with soy milk or oat milk or cashew milk so things are evolving. Over the last 5 or 10 years, what choices have you made to upgrade your health choices?
Well, right. Just stick to real food that nature has created. And that looks like everything that's, in the produce aisle. It's funny, you go to the grocery store now, and especially those first couple of days where everybody was going crazy and hoarding everything. And, the cereal aisle, everything is empty and all the bread is gone and all of this stuff is gone. Yet the beautiful produce is all still there. And it's amazing how we view food. Yes, I know we want to look for food that we can store and all that. And, but again, it's just interesting where we go to the grocery store to look at food. But in the last 10 years, and I've always considered myself plant-based, it's been probably almost a year now that I'm eating 100% plant-based, a long story with my mom. But always a huge part of what I ate was colorful. It was plants. It was the first thing on my plate, things that are green, things that are vegetables, things that are fresh, things that have not been interfered by man. And that's what's really important now to focus on, because this could be a great time now to learn how to meal prep. And this could be a great time now to learn some new recipes. We're all at home and we're making jokes about how by the end of this, we're going to be incredible chefs. But yeah, why don't we take advantage of that? Learn how to cook some of this fresh food. And we're so lucky here in North America. We're not going to run out of food. It's not going to be something that hopefully we're going to see. So again, just shifting our mindset on focusing on our health. Now is a really good time. It's that one thing that we have control over. And if we mistreat our bodies, especially at this time, that's where we're going to start to feel so much stress and so much anxiety and so much lack of control over our emotions and our state in general.
Yeah, beautiful. I wanted to add to that, what Natasha and I are doing is she went out and bought a bunch of, because it's spring here in this part of the world, you can plant, lettuce and tomatoes. So we're actually taking the opportunity to take ownership on developing that part of our garden. The lemons and oranges are in season here. So I've been picking them and we've been, squeezing them and freezing them. And so it's back to basics. It's back to kind of the way it used to be. And this conversation has been about, spending time drawing with your kids or playing, Lego or hopscotch on the street again. I actually like it. Yeah. I like the change versus hustle, bustle, rush, be disconnected, connected but disconnected. Just get back to the simple things that really counted. So,
you know, one thing, sorry to interrupt you, Rock. I was just thinking about this morning, the one phrase that I realized I have not been saying all week since this whole thing first started is hurry up. Like, that was the one thing I would say to my kids, I don't know, maybe 11 times every day. Hurry up, let's go. Come on, hurry up. Are you almost done? Let's go. And I have not said that once. And I think Allison was saying it too. This is the time to slow down and appreciate just slowing down. And not even having to be in that space where you need to hurry up for anything. I think we've forgotten about that. Yeah. Everything now, there's so much urgency around it, being somewhere at a particular time or constantly feeling in a rush or stress to be somewhere where really it doesn't matter. Like, look how much it does not matter, you know?
Yeah, we're trying to jam so much in. Maybe less is more. Maybe that's one of the things we're going to take away from this is we don't need to have ourselves jammed up so much with so many things. Get back to the simplistic things. What really makes us happy is feeling connected and feeling like we really matter to each other. So I want to talk a little bit about, Allison talked about it a little bit, Nick did too. You know, no better time now than to take the time, an hour and a half, 2, 3 hours, whatever, first thing in the morning for yourself. Mm-hmm. And you can make up whatever you want. It could be Tony Robbins' Hour of Power, or it could be Hal Elrod's, Miracle Morning. But you don't need to check online. You don't need to answer your emails because, there's not that sense of urgency. People understand. It could wait a little bit. Wouldn't it be great for people to take whatever, half an hour, something more than you have in the past for you that would include some exercise? Absolutely. Get out in nature, cook a meal, take the time to maybe cook something from scratch. What are some suggestions you can give people for that first hour? Let's call it an hour for themselves, something different and new.
Right. And it's what you said, the first thing waking up is just staying silent, meaning don't turn on your phone, don't open your computer, just try as much as you can just to just still stay in your mind with that peace, with that alignment that you woke up with. And then go outside. I mean, some people are beginners, so for sure I'm not going to encourage 100 burpees right away, but just go outside and take a short walk and just, smell some fresh air. Just start there. And it's so easy to incorporate little things in your day, starting off with 10 squats and 10 wall push-ups and just getting that blood flow going and just getting those endorphins going. And it doesn't matter how long it is. That hour of yours in the morning that can include your meditation time, it include your small walk outside, and include your journaling, could also include only 5 minutes of exercise, and that's plenty. And start there. And now we've got some time to build up, right? We've got maybe a few months of this going on, that slowly every single week, adding on a few more minutes in that morning is something that we can definitely work on. But what's really important is we have to learn also from the situation. And once things are back to normal again and we can come back to our world and our jobs, then maybe we retain some of these things that we're learning and we're realizing, like spending more time with our kids and spending more one-on-one time, complete focus time with the people that we love, and starting this morning routine that won't stop the moment life goes back to normal. It's still keeping these rituals also going when, life starts to get busy again for us.
Yeah, ingrain them a little bit. I want to remind everybody that we are halfway through today's virtual summit on resilience and flexibility. This is Sherry Shaban, who's the fitness director of M1, who's spending some time with us. We've got a few more minutes with her. Then we're going to head on to Mike Ayala, Ned Mahik, and David Osborne. So we have a really cool lineup for you. Sherry, we have a question from Keith. He says, your gut is 70% of your immune system. What are you doing to take care of your gut?
That's really good. Well, Rock mentioned something earlier about reducing the amount of dairy consumption. It's really making sure that your gut flora, your microbiome is really at optimal level. And that really means that you are reducing the amount of inflammation that is there. Because your gut, yes, is a big part of your immune system, but your gut is also a large part of your mood, and it affects your mood. So whatever is going on in your gut health not only impacts your immune immune system, but it also impacts your overall mood. So reducing inflammatory things such as dairy, such as wheat, such as gluten, such as some lectins for certain people that are allergic to lectins, as well as, other things that you notice that bother your stomach every time you have it. There's certain foods that you might consume that 30, 40 minutes later, you start to feel bloated. Well, that's a sign from your gut that it's not really cooperating with you. But if you instead focus on a lot of green foods, juicing, and especially if you're already having a lot of inflammation around the gut and a lot of bloating, adding more juicing, fresh juice, not just fruit, but a lot of colorful things, a lot of green vegetables as well, and focusing on restoring that biome and recharging that gut health is already a way to heal, and allowing you to start to incorporate some more foods into your diet gradually.
So I've changed my diet a lot, as you know, in the last year or so. I thought I ate really healthy, and I was, your typical chicken and fish kind of guy, a little bit of meat once a month. But, Natasha has really pointed out to me the advantages of being vegan. And I found that my taste buds have changed. My cravings change. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think a lot of people feel like when they change diet that it's like they're depriving themselves of something. It's just an adaptation. And once you adapt long enough, you don't crave the things anymore. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Right. And it's just like any addiction, right? It will take some time to transition, and it's, a matter of allowing your body some time to transition. The first 3 days are rough, and it will take about 14 days until you start to adapt to this new way of life and the new way of eating. And it's also about reframing and re-looking, about what your nutrition looks like. So reducing sugar is probably one of the biggest ones. It's almost like, watching TV at listening to it at a really high volume, and then suddenly turning down the volume, and then taking a moment to readapt. And the body kind of goes to the exact same response. At first, when you remove the dairy and the sugar and all of these inflammatory substances, it's hard to become in tune with your body. But then you start to give it the right foods. And after a while, all of your cravings will go away. You don't even have to think about not having these bad things. You just know that it doesn't feel good. It doesn't serve you. And the moment that you do go back and have something that you had taken out of your diet and felt better on, you're going to know it's all of that inflammation is going to come back. You're going to even notice the taste is not as good as you remember it to be. So again, it's just a matter of adaptation and being patient with yourself. And a lot of people, those first 14 days, that's where they have a hard time, sort of committing to, because it's not easy. It's just realizing that it is overcoming a drug, really.
Let's talk about some myths, like, breakfast is the most important meal. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe that. Well, the breakfast is in the first meal that you break your fast with, yes. But having to eat, as soon as you wake up and then eating and constantly eating all day does not allow your digestive system a chance to rest. And that's really where all the recovery happens. We're told that the first thing that we should eat is something sugary and sweet, and it usually comes in a box, and it's, got a lot of fortified vitamins, and it's part of a complete breakfast, etc. And that's all obviously marketing. But giving yourself a window of eating, of feeding, if that works for you, if it's ideal for you, is actually a great way to allow even that gut flora to flourish.
What are some other common things people think? Like, you got to eat a lot of food. Now
you got to eat a lot of meat. You got to eat a lot of protein. Without protein, you're not going to be able to live. You're not going to be able to lift. It's the most important macronutrient. And that's, I think that's probably something that you've seen, Rock, when you transition to a plant-based diet, that you're thriving just fine. Your training is amazing. You're probably have more energy than you had before. You're still able to put on muscle. There's protein in everything that we eat. And we're just told that, we need to add more protein powders and protein shakes and make sure every single meal is so high in protein. And that's probably one of the biggest myths too.
So listen, we're getting to the bottom of the hour, and we're going to wrap up this segment. So how would you characterize for people, if this is going to go on for a few months, what would you suggest that they put their priority on?
put your priority on yourself, inwards, on you, on maybe taking the time to learn something new, not to neglect your health and fitness, to really take this time to stick to your rituals and find a way to exercise, to continue to move so that you feel better coming out of this. The less you move right now and the more you start to turn to foods that don't serve you, slowly the weight is going to creep up, and slowly you're going to start to change your behavior around even the whole entire situation. It does absolutely impact your mood. But also focus on your personal development. Stop watching news. The amount of time that you're taking to be on Facebook to hear the bad news and to read on, how terrible everything is going, maybe take that time to learn something new, to read, to pick up a book and, learn how to, invest maybe in the stock market. There are so many opportunities right now. And it's taking that time right now to invest it in something that's going to serve you, because realize that we have no control over what's going on right now, but you have control over your time. You have control over your personal development. You have control over your health and fitness. You have control over your body, the time that you spend with your kids. And the more you spend time and focus on the things that you can control, the more you will feel the situation is actually not so bad, and try to see the good in it. Maybe try to do some of the things that, you didn't have time to do before.
Awesome. Sherry Shaban, harness your inner warrior and helping us out with our health and fitness and our mindset. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it, Sherry.
Thank you, Rock.